toxic masculinity.
Read the first headline.
Yes, could you read the first headline, please?
Caitlyn Jenner may run for California governor.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And you got to do the air quotes. Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner. Let's go ahead and read this.
So hot. Gorgeous.
Aston. I called you Aston. That's weird. It's all right. I saw him moving by the corner of my eye. I got my words short circuited there. Valeria is the name that I wanted to say. Don't say that. Come on, don't say that. Caitlyn, or as we call her on this show, Bruce Jenner, is exploring a run against embattled California Governor Gavin Newsom. Bruce Jenner, in discussions with political consultants over whether he should run for California governor of California, according to Axios, citing three sources with direct knowledge of his deliberations. The 71-year-old former Olympian's potential foray into politics comes as Governor Gavin Newsom.
Wait. 71 years old?
I guess. I don't know.
71 years old?
Yeah, he looks pretty good for 71, huh? But he is an Olympian.
Wow.
So if you're an Olympian
Wow.
and you want to look like a woman and you're 71,
and
you probably
rich.
do a pretty good job. And you're really you're super rich.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm impressed.
Valeria's like, I want to look like him and I'm 71. Don't say that. Good Lord. Okay. Governor Gavin Newsom faces a fierce recall election. 2 months after his manager, sorry. 2 months after I want to get those pronouns right. 2 months after his manager, Sophia Hutchins, nixed the idea of a gubernatorial bid, saying that at the time, Jenner has never considered running for governor and is happy doing the work that she is doing to promote the LGBT rights and spending time with her 18 grandchildren and 10 grandchildren. And I say her and she because it's a quote. Now, however, Jenner is in discussions with longtime GOP fundraiser Carolyn Wren. They met each other at the American Unity Fund, a GOP nonprofit which focuses on LGBT issues. Jenner rose to fame in 1976, winning the Olympic decathlon. Nearly 40 years later, Jenner transitioned to a woman and adopted a new name after appearing for several years on the reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Jenner is looking to take advantage of angry Californians who have launched a recall campaign against Newsom over his immigration. We know that crap. Okay. Along with his terrible, inconsistent, and unscientific handling of COVID-19 pandemic. I shouldn't have said blah, blah, blah. We know that stuff because that's actually pretty critical. Gavin Newsom is a disaster. We all know that. Bruce Jenner, I mean, who knows? Might be a great governor. I mean, this is the thing most people don't know about Bruce/Caitlyn Jenner. He is a Republican. I love Valeria's reaction to this. I told Valeria this today. I was like, Valeria, there's something I think you don't know about Bruce Jenner. She's like, what? I'm like, he's a Republican. And I believe her response was this. I have to move the mic away. She laughed like the Joker from Batman the Animated Series. It was pretty funny. I think I just scared the crap out of that cat.
Now our cat see this fly.
Oh, is that
and
what's
he's
going
gonna
on?
go crazy.
All right. Well, anyway, I mean, who knows? Maybe, look, if Bruce Jenner, I know there's a lot of Christians out there saying that, no, we can't have a transgender person because it's, it's sinful and unnatural and all that kind of stuff. And, maybe I agree with that to some degree. However, I think that the problem with being transgender is less about an unnatural, I don't have as much of a religious problem with it, even though I am Christian, as I have a problem with a transgender person being a politician, because I think that transgenderism is an expression of a mental problem, a mental disorder. But I think in some cases being gay can be the expression of a mental disorder. I mean, there's many different things that you can, ways that you can be that are harmful to yourself or to other people. That is the expression of a mental disorder. Now, should that stop you from ever running for public office? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And the reason I say I don't think so is because just because you have a mental problem in one area of your life, right? And I know some people are going to say, oh, just because you're gay, that doesn't mean you have a mental problem. Okay, fine. Maybe that's true. But I'm just saying, I think often it does mean that. It is an indication of that. Maybe not always, but I think that it can be. And so the question is, if you have a mental disorder, should you be able to run for public office? And I think just a lot of people have mental disorders in the world, from just like a little tiny issue to a much more severe issue, in which case, obviously, they wouldn't be able to run for public office or maybe hold down any kind of a job. Mm-hmm. But if you can function normally in society and do a good job, I could actually see myself supporting Bruce/Caitlyn Jenner. I mean, even call him her, just to be somewhat respectful on in this. Like let's say I met the guy, and I was like, dude, lipstick's looking on point today. If like we became friends or something like that, I could imagine calling him her, even though I think it's absolutely ridiculous, just so that I wouldn't have to deal with, just trying to not to. But as a rule, I don't tend to call transgender men pretending to be women. I don't call them her or she. Mm-hmm. But it's sort of like taking a political position on LGBT issues generally. I have friends who are gay, and I try not to bring up my opposition to certain kinds of political positions that they may be sensitive to, just out of respect for them as a friend. So is that compromising my principles in the area? No, I don't think so. I'm still going to hold the same kind of views on ethics. I'm going to hold the same kind of views on politics. But one position that's kind of in conflict to some degree with my political positions is my personal view, which is I think that you should be respectful of people generally when you meet them and when you talk to them. I mean, I don't think that Bruce Jenner is doing anything particularly unethical. He just does something that's really weird. Dressing up like a woman, I think, is just such a weird thing.
Well, he did the full like boob.
Oh yeah. I mean, he has implants
hair.
and everything, so he's dressing up like a woman.
He's dressing up like really.
Yeah,
nicely.
he's doing a really intense job of it.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't like.
I think he did a good job.
Well, okay. Anyway, the point is, could Bruce Jenner make a good governor? I wouldn't rule out the possibility. I mean, he can't be worse than Newsom. I think Bruce Jenner could potentially be a good governor. I mean, it's kind of maybe a controversial position to take, but we do have other options if you don't like Bruce Jenner. But here's the thing. I think that Bruce Jenner could be one of the few people who could win as a Republican in California. So I'm kind of rooting for him. And I actually have friends running for governor.
Is he going to run as a Republican?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think he would. But we also have another very famous person running for governor.
Major Williams.
Don't say that because Errol will get pissed off. We have two friends, both black guys, who are running for governor. But if you get famous people in the mix, I mean, the people that we know, they don't really have much of a chance. But no, it's another famous person from the 80s. Magnum PI himself, Mr. Tom Selleck. Mr. Tom Selleck, who you probably don't even know who that is. That's a cue for you to say whether or not you know who that is.
I don't hear you because of the AC, sorry.
Yeah.
I just turned it off.
Okay, I said you probably don't know who Tom Selleck is.
No, I don't.
No. But my mom had a bit of a crush on him in the 80s, which I always thought was weird. Is he actually the only person, because my mom was a loyal wife. She was a good wife to my father. She never said anything like creepy or weird about other men, except Tom Selleck. She liked Tom Selleck. And I don't know how much of what she was saying about Tom Selleck was a joke, but she'd always be like, oh, Tom Selleck, But she also had, my mom also did this with a guy who was like a used car salesman that would do local ads. But that one was very obviously a joke. What the heck was that guy's name? I can't remember. Like, I think his name was also Tom. It was like Tom Peterson or something like that. Up in Portland, there was a guy who would sell used cars. He had a big used car dealership. And he did these local ads. And my mom would always say, if your father ever leaves me, I'm going to get together with this used car salesman from these cheesy ads. He's like, then we'll be rich, kids. My mom was a little... She had a kind of a funny sense of humor. Anyway, she talked about it a weird lot, like more than you would think that would be appropriate for jokes for children. But it was a sort of repetitive, ongoing joke. It worked. I always thought it was funny. Anyway, but I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I watch Tom Selleck sometimes do his ads on Fox. Right, he does these ads for like a certain kind of like mortgage, like a mortgage thing. And he seems with it. He seems together. He's a bit of an older man, but I like his presentation. I think he's still a charismatic person. So under normal circumstances, I think he could win governorship. But because we live in such a crazy left-wing state, I think it's likely that someone more like Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, could have a better chance.
Well, I still think that California voted Trump this year. So I hope that maybe in 5 years, maybe less, but I don't think it's possible, that we can turn California red. And if Caitlyn Jenner will help in this situation.
Wait, why do you think we can turn California red?
Because I think this election 2020, I think California voted for Trump.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I didn't quite understand you. So you think that we're more red than is being reported in the polls and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But you just think corruption is keeping Democrats in office and whatnot. I mean, it is a possibility. I'm not so sure I'm convinced that that's quite true. But I definitely think we're more red than is reflected in our representation here in the state, for sure. But anyway, would you like to... I think that's good for that story, yeah? All right. Would you like to move on to the next story?
Yeah. Texas and Louisiana sue Biden administration. Okay.
Sue the Biden administration.
Okay, one more time. Texas and Louisiana sue Biden administration for refusing to arrest illegal with criminal records.
Illegals, I think.
Illegals.
Illegal immigrants. All right. Texas, Louisiana sue Biden administration for refusing to take illegal immigrants.
Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.